Hello and welcome to another edition of Oh No, Disney Adults, the podcast. I swear I'm going to start doing these more regularly. I think the last episode was 3 months ago, which is abysmal, abominable, unjustifiable, and I'm doing my best. Anyway, here we are. My name's Drew, and I'm joined with Harry. Say
Hello.
Hi, Harry. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Harry.
And this is the podcast where a couple of beardy guys just talk about how much they enjoy going to a theme park that a lot of people think is for kids, even though it's not for kids. It's not. You've just got back from a trip.
Yeah. I just, I've actually just got back from Egypt.
Yeah.
That was an experience. It was really good.
Had
Really
you done
good
it
time.
before? Like that
No,
part of the
never,
world? No.
never. It was a culture shock for sure. But it's definitely something that was on a bucket list for us to do. And our friends were like, "Hey, do you want to go Egypt?"
Yeah, man.
I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So it was great. Got to see the pyramids. Got to see the Sphinx.
Beautiful.
Go around some museums. Go
Yeah.
around Cairo.
Do they have much in the way of theme parks over there, or?
I'll be honest, no clue. I believe they do. But I don't know if it's a theme park spot or if it's known for that, really.
No. I think it's more about its history and its culture than it is turkey legs and things. So, like, you know, in terms of like ranking that in like your holidays, like where would you place that? Was that like near the top, super enjoyable, like one you want to do again at some point? Do you think, or like is that like you've seen the big pyramids and the Sphinx and everything, and you can tick that off the list and move on to like the next country or whatever that you want to go and check out now?
So it's definitely somewhere I'd go again to see other sites that I missed this
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
Round this time when we went, I wanted to see like the main sites because like it's the pyramids, man. It's amazing. And there's a few other things I would like to do in Egypt, but I'm not like in a super rush to go back straight away. There are
Sure.
other places I would like to go to.
Yeah.
Also, I've got to go to Disney World again,
You've
like
got to.
quite a few times.
Yeah,
So,
you've been strong-armed into it.
oh yeah, unfortunately, no. We can't wait. We've already got our trip for this year booked. Of course,
Yeah,
we're looking at trips for next year.
So this year it's August, right? Is that right?
Yeah, we're going in August with the friends we went to Egypt with.
Right.
We're going with to Disney World. One of them went. I think I've said this before. One of them went when he was like around 10 or so, and the other one she's never been.
Everything new.
So everything's new. Yeah, I mean, even for my friend who's been before, everything will be completely different, or he may not remember certain things. They both love Disney Paris, so they're very excited to go to Florida, of course.
Yeah, it's a safe bet they're going to have a good time then.
Oh yeah, 100%. They are going to enjoy it. I know they may struggle or be shocked by the humidity and heat, possibly.
Yeah, in August, yeah. A
Yeah.
hand fan wouldn't be a terrible idea, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But nonetheless, dodging for aircon to aircon, I think they will absolutely love it. I mean, it's the best place in the world, right?
So this is Animal Kingdom Lodge, yeah?
Yeah, it's Animal Kingdom Lodge this time,
Sweet.
which is a bucket list for me and Ellie, my partner. Very, very excited to stay at that resort.
So
Really excited.
what type of, like, this is me wanting to, like, pick now, but, like, what type of, like, room and view and everything have you gone for?
So it's not, we didn't go for the Savannah view.
It's so expensive. Like, the difference between Resort View and Savannah View is, because we looked at it for this year and I was just like, no, sir.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons, but also I've watched quite a few like vlogs and videos as you do, and a lot of people do say even though they've had that view, they've not seen much, and you can sometimes see more by just walking around.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, it's also maybe not really worth paying that extra money. I mean, it's so cool, right? Like if you can,
Yeah,
do
man.
it.
The idea of waking up and going and having a coffee or a tea out on that balcony and having like grazing giraffes and stuff out there is magical. But like you said, there's plenty of other spaces where you can take that cup of coffee and just go and sit and see the exact same thing, and you're paying almost half the price for the room. For, you know what I mean? Like, I think the amount that they ask for the Savannah rooms, I probably wouldn't be going into the parks. I would be sitting out there, eyes glued to the grounds all day, trying to get every penny's worth.
Well, yeah.
It is a I think it's one of the most visually striking resorts, though. Like the lobby is absolutely beautiful. The fact that there's so many spots you can walk around and just see, like your flamingos and antelope and all of that sort of stuff. You can have a phenomenal time. So you're there for what, like 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll always go. We'll always go for 2 weeks. Like it's. I think the only time we won't go is we were toying with an idea of doing a week in uh, California and then a week
Yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
But typically, we will always do 2 weeks because it's. I feel like it's almost silly not to,
I think when you're
with the
going that
price
far.
difference
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Coming from overseas as well, like you said, going that far to just go back 7 days later is no. You've got to do it all. You've got to be there for 2 weeks. Do as much as you can in those 2 weeks, and then go
100%.
again.
Saying that, Andy, who was on the podcast a while ago, he did. I want to say he did like a weekend. He like literally flew over on like the Friday and flew back on the Sunday or something. But I think it was one of those things where like he'd either gotten like an amazing deal or he had enough like Virgin points saved up that his flights were going to be free, or there was some sort of like incentive there for him to do it that was, that kind of, yeah, why not? And also I think the guy's been about 30 odd times at this point. He's a lifer, so I guess that's a different thing, just kind of pop over. But yeah, the vast majority of people are going to do that fortnight, especially when they offer the tickets, the 14 days for 7 UK deal that we get. So yeah,
exactly. It's like if you're paying for 7 days, you may as well pay for the
14.
2 weeks, and
why not?
Just do it.
Well, yeah, and then Disney gets the extra week's worth of hotel money out of you. They get the extra week's worth of merchandise and food and everything else. So everybody wins. You get more time at Disney, and they get more access to your bank account.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going. We'll probably be high-fiving in the airport or something. So we're going out towards the beginning of September, and we're doing 2 weeks. We're currently booked back in at the Riviera because that's our home resort, and you can book that 11 months out, your home resort. Well, this is with DVC, which, if you're listening, you don't know what DVC is. It's Disney's kind of timeshare. You buy in a certain amount of points, and every year you get that amount of points allocated to you to spend on whichever DVC resort or room you want. So we bought 150, which I think that was the minimum to get like the perks, the extras and things, so like the discounts and invitations to the events and all that sort of stuff. So we got 150, and we also figured 150 we could do like a 11 or 12 day holiday every year, or because you can like bank points and stuff, you could do a mega holiday every other year basically. So we went 2024, we went 2025, we're going 2026, and then I think we're going to take 2027 off and then do like a 3-4 week thing in 2028. Watch this space. That might not happen. We might just get the itch and end up having to figure out a way to go, but that's how we're looking at the moment. But because it was our 7-month window today, we were trying to figure out visiting like some of the other the resorts. We kind of said, well, we were there last time, something that we'd like to do because we've got this and we're going to be going back time and time again is visit at least every deluxe resort where we can use DVC points. So I think we're thinking about doing a week at Old Key West and then doing like a split stay, and then going to Riviera after that or before that, just kind of depending on when the flights are cheaper. So at the moment, we're going to do like a split stay and do Old Key West, which was the original DVC resort in something like 91. But the point cost is really low on it as well, which was good. So, but yeah, apparently they'll like move all your luggage over for you and everything. So you just kind of check out in the morning, you leave your luggage, and then they ferry it over to the new resort for you. And then you go to that resort when you check in the evening after you've been in the parks or whatever, and away you go. So yeah, that's our plan for this year, is kind of taking shape at the moment. But yeah, we just got to figure out flights, because last year we did. Who are you flying with, by the way?
Oh, we're flying with I think it's Norse this time. We've never used them, but I think they were offering it a lot cheaper than other people. And some people have said that Norse isn't great. It's got like mixed reviews, but I can't judge it until I've done it myself.
No,
I feel.
No, you can't. And what I found is the majority of those dissenting voices saying that they had a bad experience is because they had a bad experience. Majority of people who fly on a flight and it's perfectly fine are not then jumping onto their keyboards and going, oh my goodness, I had no problems with this flight whatsoever. So I think you sometimes need to take those things with a pinch of salt. We did Aer Lingus last year from Manchester because it was the cheapest. And again, like you jump online and it's like, oh, they were rubbish. The plane was awful. Oh, this, that, and the other. And we had a great flight with Aer Lingus, so much so that we were going to do it again this time. Head up to Manchester, stay over the night before, and then fly direct over. But something happened with Aer Lingus about a month ago where they closed their Manchester base, so you can't actually take direct flights from there anymore. So we've now got to look at, I think, flying out from London, which is probably going to be Norse, because again, like when you go on like Skyscanner and places like that, generally it's British Airways or Norse, but British Airways then start to charge you extra for your baggage and this, that, and the other. So yeah, we're probably going to go with them as well. Which is a shame, because when we were in Manchester, we had a friend who lived in Manchester who we could leave our car with them, so we didn't have to pay for long stay parking. Whereas now we will, which is like, that's like an extra couple of £100 you've got to find. But what can you do? What can you do?
What we tend to do is I obviously it's different scenario or different situations, but we're going to get the coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get a flexi bus down to London for about, the last one I got was £6. And I mean, if you're paying £6 to go to London and then a tube to get to the airport or whatever, right?
Mm.
It's just so cheap and quite fortunate. And we always stay the night before as well.
Yeah,
just because it's easier.
It takes the stress out of it, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's, you wake up knowing that you're already there. We did a trip to Paris in when would it have been? 2023, I think. Anyway, it was when the rail strikes were on, and we made the mistake of going down the morning of. No, in fact, we didn't. We made the mistake of going the night before, thinking that we'd be fine, and then the rail strikes between our hotel and the airport. The where you get the, is it St Pancras where you get the tunnel? There were massive delays there, and so we ended up not rolling up into Paris until sort of 6-7 in the evening that day, and that's like your whole day gone at that point. So yeah, after that I was like, never again. Whatever we do, we're going to be parked right outside the night before, and then you can just, even if you've not got a super early flight, like we typically go at like sort of 11 a.m, you can just wake up, take your time a little bit, mosey on over. Even if security's busy, you're not in a rush at any point. So yeah, I think it's definitely a top tip to share with people who are maybe thinking of flying for the first time. Is like, it'll cost you a couple of quid for your hotel for the night, but it's worth it just for the peace of mind, I think. So
I agree.
Yeah. And then however you get down there, you get down there, but it's definitely worth being there well ahead of time and everything else.
Yeah, you never want to go through that hassle in like security and like worry, like last minute you're there, you've just had a really busy day of traveling, and then you've got to travel some more, and it's like traveling does take it out of you as well. And obviously, I'm assuming if you've got little ones too, that they feel travel quite a lot. I would feel. I remember when I was younger, traveling for me, I didn't enjoy it. Also, if you do have little ones, it might be better to, of course, stay in a hotel, just so then that way they get a break from that really long travel, because the flight isn't short either, is it?
No. And even if you're in, like a sort of a comfortable plane, everything, like it's surprising how much sitting in that one spot for 9+ hours can still take it out of you, I suppose. So yeah, you've got a very good point there. I think for kids, travel can be really overwhelming, overstimulating, and so yeah, I think just whatever you can do to remove elements of stress. Like, you've paid so much money for this holiday, like why would you not do whatever you can do to just take away bits of potential stress here, there, and everywhere? Just kind of having your ducks in a row. I think because there's so many variables and so many things that can go wrong that are outside of your control with things like airports and aeroplanes and stuff as well. You just, you want to give yourself as much room to maneuver as you can, I guess.
Exactly.
Anyway, we should talk about the news, the parks news, the Disney World news, the Disney World parks news. That's the jingle I'm working on. I'm going to workshop it a bit more, I think. But so one of the first things I wanted to talk about that's particularly pertinent to me and you being Star Wars geeks is not necessarily happening in Disney World yet, but over in Anaheim in California, they have announced that they are breaking the timeline in Galaxy's Edge. So this basically means that they're effectively splitting the park in half. One side is going to kind of remain as is, which is the sort of Rise of the Resistance, the marketplace, all of that. And then the other side where you've got Ogres and where you've got the First Order supply shop and Kylo's ship. That's all being changed into original trilogy, Rebellion era, with wandering characters. Darth Vader's going to be doing the rounds instead of Kylo Ren. And yeah, like, what do you think about this? How are you feeling about it?
I mean, I think it's a really good idea. I think it's great. It's a step in the right direction because although I'm very biased, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I do feel like that is something that park suffers with is people want to see Darth Vader. You know, he's so iconic. And don't get me wrong, Kylo Ren's really cool and everything.
He's not Darth Vader though, is he? He's not
Yeah,
like one of the inarguably biggest screen villains of all time. Like you could show, 90% of the population of the planet a picture of Darth Vader, and they're gonna either know who he is or they're gonna recognize that image. It's one of those just standout things. And so yeah, for him to have a presence in the park that's a bit more involved is yeah,
exactly. And he's so important to the story, really. Like Anakin in general is obviously really important to Star Wars, and I think it's such a good idea. And I mean, we're going to get to see Luke as well, possibly with this whole like time thing. People are going to see Leia, possibly.
yeah.
Obviously, Chewie's still there anyway. You're going to see so many characters that like everyone knows, and is kind of like, in my opinion, like the face of Star Wars. But I do think it's still good that there is like a Rise of the Resistance like area where it is time locked, because for those people that really enjoyed that, which I did enjoy it, they can still go and experience that as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
But, there's so many different parts of Star Wars when you even just looking at the films, right? And there's so many characters they could have just going in and people could meet if it wasn't time locked. But I feel like because it maybe hindered the park a little bit because certain things had to be themed to the sequels, right?
Yeah, this is it. And I think like Disneyland have always played a little more fast and loose with the timeline than Disney World. So they have had Sabine's been in the park, Ahsoka's been in the park, Luke's been in the park. Mando was there first, I think, before they started doing that over. But you can kind of fold Mando in with the timeline, really. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like you say, I think Rise of the Resistance would need major retheming if you were going to retheme all of that to the original trilogy. So it kind of keep that half of the area playing with those characters and that setting and everything makes absolute sense. And like you say, there's a lot of people growing up who the sequel trilogy was their Star Wars trilogy. That was their gateway into the world and everything else. And, I don't think grumpy old men should necessarily rip that away from them. But it's really nice, like you say, to have that in there. I'm really hoping they bring it over to the East Coast Park and we get it over here. I know they're also discontinuing the green milk. I don't think that's been quite as controversial a thing, but apparently that's running out soon as well. But yeah, that was kind of a big deal when they formally announced that was going to happen, because it meant altering the timeline. It meant rewriting certain bits of lore. I think Oga Gara's only meant to have established her foothold on Batuu in like the past few months. So Oga's, those who don't know who are listening, Oga's meant to be the character who owns the cantina, the bar that's inside Galaxy's Edge, and she's meant to be a bit of a kind of the Jabba the Hutt of the planet that you're meant to be on. And obviously in the park's kind of storyline as it exists now, she's been there for decades. And this will change all of that. They are doing a Marvel Comics miniseries, Galaxy's Edge: Echoes of the Empire, which is coming out in April, and that's going to kind of tie things together and explain a little bit of what's going on. So I'll be picking that up because I'm cool. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting that they were doing that. That's it's a big step forward, because I think for a while people have been going like, this is great, but what else can you do with it? Like what's next? How are you going to build on this? And so that's a step in the right direction, because if they ever decide they're going to put a new ride in there, it can be broader.
It can be from any time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, who knows? That's pretty cool.
Pod racing thrill ride would be cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You get to sit next to Ben Quadraneros or Sebulba.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Dinosaur finally closed its doors. Sad times.
Rest in peace, Dinosaur. It
absolutely.
was great.
It had a good run. It was exceptionally 90s when you went in there, but I do think that was part of its charm. Dr. Seeker's tie alone gave away the sort of era that whole thing was filmed in. So did you get to do your goodbye ride on that last time you were there?
Yeah, we made sure to go on it because we knew it was closing. We were like, we have to go on this quite a few times. I mean, I really enjoyed the ride. I know Ellie absolutely loves it or loved it. Loves it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only thing I won't miss from it, to be fair, is you got proper thrown around on that ride. I felt like I did anyway. I don't know what happened. Maybe I
It
sit wrong.
Yeah, it does jiggle you a little bit. It doesn't destroy my back in quite the way Space Mountain does over in Disney World, but yeah, it's up there in
Yeah.
terms of like people potentially needing a chiropractor afterwards. That said, it's not like the whole thing's going away because it's just being remodeled and rethemed. The ride system, I believe, is staying the same because it's the same ride system that's in the Indiana Jones ride that's in Disneyland. Even though it's not going to be a one-to-one match, it's going to be its own story. But I think they're still going to be utilizing this kind of hydraulic car system, this trackless car system, and
Yeah.
so yeah, you'll still be able to get some bulging discs. It will just be to the sound of John Williams' score this time when it opens back up, whenever that ends up
So
being.
right then.
But yeah, so that's gone now. I think that's everything there now, isn't it? Because is Restaurantosaurus closed now? And because that was the
Yeah, I
only other
believe
thing.
it is.
That was the only other thing that was open when I went there last time. You just had to sort of walk down this weird corridor of green MDF to get down to the ride, and yeah, I guess that's it now. That's all closed off, and they'll be flattening everything and getting it all ready for what's coming up, which is going to be the Tropical Americas.
Mm.
So I think this is going to be amazing. Really, really excited for it. I think it fits Animal Kingdom so well. I think it's going to be really refreshing. I think it is going to be a real good way of bringing more people into Animal Kingdom. We talked about this last time, people thinking it's a half-day park and everything else. Like Pandora's really, really lovely, but there's 2 rides in there and a quick service, and you kind of through that kind of quickly, I guess. So, and that was the kind of the last big addition to the park. Obviously, certain things have had refreshes. You've got Zootopia now and the Tree of Life and everything else, but I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see the numbers that the park starts to pull in once that stuff opens up. Because what are we getting in there? We're getting the Indiana Jones ride,
Encanto ride, aren't we?
the Casita, yeah. So and
Yeah.
that's going to be like a dark ride, right? Like a boat ride, a slow boat ride.
Yeah, I think it's like a boat ride that you go through. It'd be quite nice because personally, I love boat rides.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, there's there's fewer things more relaxing than just. Was it the Navi River journey? I know some people think that's a little bit dull. I've heard people
I
talk
love
on
it.
podcasts. I think it's wonderful. I think obviously the big oh my goodness moment is the reveal of the shaman at the end, which last time we went went on it a bunch of times and we got A and B mode. So we got the big animatronic, but then we also got the screen with the animatronic just done in CG on the back of it, which is, hey, look, you've got something there for when it goes down, I guess. But the actual ride itself, I really enjoy. I think it's really, really chill. I like the way the little alien frogs jump on the leaves above you as you're going around, and all the kind of the clever way that they're using screen work blended with like real foliage and stuff. And from what I gather, I think you're meant to go into like Antonio's room. The idea is that you're going into that room with the big trees and all the animals and everything else. So there'll be a bit of, I don't know if there'll be like some drops or anything like that in there and that kind of thing. But I think that's going to make it a really, really interesting ride to go on. And obviously everyone loves Encanto anyway. The music did very, very well from that film. What else are we getting in there? We're also getting there's like a carousel.
Yeah, there's a carousel that'll be in there, which I've looked at like plans for it, and you kind of see where it looks like it's going to go. I think that's going to be fun. I think.
Yeah. It's more keeping all ages in mind, I think.
Yeah.
I think ride accessibility is such a big deal for us, especially because my family has disabilities, but I think just in terms of being inclusive and considerate of everyone and all ages, young and old, people who are into roller coasters, people who aren't, Disney's always had such a good blend of that stuff. Like you can go and not go on a roller coaster and not feel like you've missed out because there's so much other stuff to do with shows and dark rides and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to be really cool. I think they've revealed a couple of the rides, like the things that you sit on, because I think one of them's going to be of Kevin from Up. And then I don't know if they're doing some from Coco, I think maybe, like if they're going to do Diego or something like that. I could just be pulling this out of my arse, I don't know, but I feel like I've read that somewhere. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing this when it's completed in 4 years, 3 years, 5 years.
I think I'm sure they said earlier than that. No,
I
I mean, who knows? Who
yeah.
knows, really? I heard something about like maybe later 2027. I thought that was a bit quick, but I mean,
Hmm.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's a lot
I'm
to build then.
also, well, yeah, exactly. It's loads to build, but realistically thinking about, I mean, I don't. Sometimes Disney tend to do things really slow. It could be in the next like 4 or 5 years, but I'm sure I read something about 2027.
Yeah. I think it was at the D23 last year. They talked about all of this sort of stuff, and they said this is all in active development. I think that was because they got a lot of blowback from stuff they'd announced before, like they were going to be doing Cherry Tree Lane in the UK Pavilion over at Epcot, and they were going to have like a Mary Poppins area, and I think there was meant to be a ride and everything else. And they've never said we're not doing that anymore, but they've never said anything else about it either. And there's been quite a few ideas like that over the past few years. But then all of this sort of stuff they've said, I say recently, in the past couple of years, after the kind of people, going like, well, where is all this stuff? They've been making points to go like, okay, look, this is an active development. Here's photos of this. People are finding like the permits for development and stuff online as well. So you can see like where, if you're really into this stuff, you can see where like all the drainage is going to be, which is usually an indicator of where the walkways are going to be in the area and all of that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to kind of theorize about how long that's going to take, but it's a lot. You've got one ride that you're retheming, but basically everything else is being built from the ground up, and I don't know how long that's going to take. But I feel like we're in a rebuilding era at the moment, because every park's got something going on in terms of like major reconstruction, major expansion.
Yeah, exactly. And they even started they started redoing the castle now, haven't they?
Yeah, they're
In Magic
painting that.
Kingdom
Yeah, the
too.
moat's drained. It's all going back to its original colours.
Mm.
And a lot of people are happy about that, and I'm like, it's the Cinderella Castle at Disney World, so I'm always going to be absolutely in love with it. But I think a little piece of me will always miss the 50th anniversary colours, because they were that was the first time I saw the castle, and I really liked how vibrant and bright it was. And obviously they're going back to that sort of slightly more muted palette now with the greys and the peaches and stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at like the colours and such, I definitely prefer the pink. I think it like makes it stand out more.
yeah,
But I'm not like a hater. I'm very much excited to see it redone. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
If there was a Disney hill I was going to die on, this is not it. Like the colour of the paint
Yeah.
on the castle, it's fine. As long as they don't redo that birthday cake thing that they did for, I think it was like the 20th. I don't know if you ever
God.
saw
Yeah.
that. That thing
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there, but it was the 90s or whenever it was. So,
Yeah.
I guess that's the excuse, isn't it? Like everything had bad taste back then.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you say, a lot of stuff's just being rebuilt, built up, knocked down, changed into something else, rebranded, which is great, because that's how they bring people in. That's how they bring people back. It's one of those things, like there's always something new to look forward to when you go. I feel like there's always something different. I mean, the new Zootopia thing's going to be there when we go this year that we've not seen before.
Indeed. Yeah. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, me too. I know it's effectively the same theatre with the same seating, everything, but I think it's going to be great. I enjoyed it. It's tough to be a bug, but yeah, I think it was time to maybe replace it with something new, and they've obviously kept it on theme, so that's really, really cool as well. They are also laying foundations for Piston Peak now in
Yes.
Magic Kingdom, so that's well underway. And again, it's a tricky one, because if you want to do all of these big, wonderful new things, you have to have a period of time where your park looks a little bit ugly, and there's no way around that. But it's very, very exciting to think that, again, I think this is probably going to be like 2029, 2030 maybe, but Piston Peak, Villains Land in the background, like opening up that park so much more. And there's already so much in there to begin with. It's crazy to think that there's going to be like a bunch
Even
of
more.
extra stuff. Yeah, man, absolutely. Have you got anything in particular you'd like to see in Villains Land? Any particular villains you want to see wandering around?
So I mean, he will. They'll probably do a lot of villains I want to see. Like I really want to see Doctor
Facilier? Yeah.
Facilier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I Yeah, I'm really excited to see that. It'd also be fun to see like this. They wouldn't do this, I don't think, but it would be hilarious to see like Mater as Dracula in one of the shorts
Yeah,
he
man,
does.
absolutely. Well, there's no reason they can't do that in the
Like
Halloween period.
exactly, they could totally do things like that as well.
Yeah.
But in the villains bit specifically, yeah, I mean stuff like just villains that we don't really see out and about.
Hmm.
I think his name's Shen Yu from Mulan, but I don't think he will get put in at all because he's very like low down.
Yeah,
You
you
don't
don't
really
see
see
merch
anything of
for
him.
him, or yeah, yeah. It was interesting because Hades was like that for a while. Like my favorite Disney film is Hercules, and for the longest
Mm.
time, I felt like it wasn't getting any love whatsoever. That seems to have completely reversed now. Like I feel like you see Hercules stuff all the
Yeah,
time,
right.
like Pain and Panic plushies, and Hades is always there at like Halloween shows and things like that. And Hercules has just got that musical on the West End that opened last year, and
Mm.
it's weird because like not long after that film came out, we were kind of going into like the DreamWorks area where people were more interested in snarky CG stuff than they were the 2D animation, and I think it got forgotten about. But then I don't know, like people who were maybe younger when it came out grew up and kind of went, "Hey, we actually really really loved this film." And but yeah, like Mulan's kind of at the tail end of the Renaissance as well. So whilst it's an absolutely brilliant film, I think it, like you said, the villain certainly doesn't get a lot of attention or a lot of love.
Yeah, and I mean, I get why he's not really like I don't know. When I was younger, I thought he was pretty terrifying. This guy, like,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like big presence out to get Milan, of course, and the rest of China. But I just don't think he will really ever get that spotlight, which is fine. I understand it's very niche. It's similar to my love for like Treasure Planet, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah.
I don't think that will ever get like big bits in the park ever. It'd
No.
be so cool, and I'd be so happy if it did.
And it's a shame because it's very visually striking. There's a lot of really cool imagery you could borrow and make interesting things from. You could put a really cool parade float together from Treasure Planet. You could again like
Right?
there's a lot of like characters there that you could very easily kind of have in terms of like meet and greet or there for the Halloween stuff and all of that kind of thing. Atlantis is another one, and you know that again we're kind of talking about the same era. I think of like just
Yeah.
forgotten Disney films. I mean, I don't think we need anything from Chicken Little in the park necessarily, but I'm sure there are others who would disagree and think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. You
I'm pretty
see,
sure my team leader at work actually said the other day that Chicken Little is one of his favourite films. Wild.
I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but I rewatched that last year and I was just like, I think part of the problem with that film is, again, like because Shrek was like the king of the box office when it came to animated films, Disney was maybe panicking a little bit. And this is all conjecture, I don't know, but it felt a little bit like they were going, oh, we need our films to be CG. We need them to be slightly self-aware and meta and use a bit more toilet humor than we're used to. Quick, get something out there. We need more like celebrity voices and that kind of stuff. And that's how you ended up with that kind of film.
Yeah.
Saying that, Meet the Robinsons is one where Bowler Hat Guy is in the Halloween parade and you do occasionally see bits of merchandise for it. It's another, you know, I really like that film. I think that film's got a lot of heart. I think it's got a good story to it. I think it struggles with being, again, like early CG, so visually it's maybe not aged the best, but it's a solid film, and there's going to be other people out there who agree. But yeah, I think it would be cool to see Bowler Hat Guy roaming around in there and, you know, that kind of thing. So we shall see. They've not formally announced anything about rides and restaurants and stuff yet, have they? They've just kind of gone, Villains
No.
Land, here's some concept art.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They've not said like, well, to what I've seen anyway, they've not said what they're doing, what they're going to be adding, what villains are even going to be there.
Yeah.
Rides, if you know, I could imagine maybe like one, maybe two rides. Some things, maybe like a quick service place.
Yeah. That
But I
would be
can't
in,
imagine it would be
no.
too much.
Well, that'd be in keeping with the last two major areas they open, if you think about it, like Pandora, 2 rides and a quick service, Galaxy's Edge, 2 rides and a quick service. It seems like a kind of a safe bet. You're giving people a few things to do whilst maybe leaving enough room to develop later on if you want to put extra stuff in there, I guess. So we'll see. I think, you know, a lot of people are very, very excited about it. Speaking of new things opening, Frozen Land at Walt Disney Studios Park is due to open within the next couple of months, it seems like. I think it looks really cool. I like the fact that there's like a little AI Olaf running around just saying hi to people.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time before some angry Frenchman punts him through a window, I think. But either that or he goes full on Itchy and Scratchy land and, you know, there's like a robot uprising in the theme park. But no, I think that's a really, really cool addition.
Yeah, definitely.
I know they're getting a copy of Frozen Ever After. They've not given a date yet, I don't think. I know there's some speculation that like it might be either March the 12th, which is the Walt Disney Studios birthday, or I think April the 12th, which is Disneyland Paris's birthday. They like to kind of coincide like their openings with big anniversaries and things like that, so maybe they'll tie it into that. But it's cool because I like Disneyland Paris quite a lot, but I wasn't like itching desperate to get back there, especially after like my last couple of trips to Florida. But now that that's opening up and they're going to be getting that Lion King flume ride soon, I'm like, might have to take a long weekend over to Marne-le-Chasseil and check it all out once it's. I mean, it's going to be madness for the first few months, like it always is when anything new opens up. But I think it'd be quite interesting to head over and check that stuff out. Yeah, and it would be nice to. I've still not been on the Avengers Flight Force.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I think you said before that you really enjoyed it. It's well done, is it?
Yeah, it's so well done. I mean, the Iron Man animatronic is brilliant in the queue. Like, I love that ride. And just for like context, I am not the biggest on like super fast, intense rides, which is really weird that I love this ride so much. But for me, whenever I go to Paris, Flight Force is a must.
Okay.
Like, I love going on that ride. It's so fun. The whole theming is brilliant. Like I said, the Iron Man animatronic is great. The queue system is amazing. And then the ride itself, oh my God, it's just great. It's great. You know, I love hearing Iron Man tell me to do stuff in French. I'm assuming it's just do some maneuvers.
That was
great.
One of my favourite parts of the, the web slinging thing, the Spider-Man ride, is like Tom Holland, like a hologram Tom Holland comes out and then starts speaking fluent French at you. I'm like, Pete, I've got no idea what you're saying, bud, but I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the... I feel like some people get a bit worried when they go to Disneyland Paris because they're like, oh, a lot of it's going to be in French, but you don't really need to know. Like, you could go to like Disneyland Paris and not know a single word in French, but by the way, and this is what's great about Disney, the way that they design rides and how the characters speak and their actions, you know what they're saying, really. Or there's subtitles for you and stuff like that as well. And also some of the rides, half of it's in English, half of it's in French. I quite enjoy that. So you don't have to know French to go there. And I think I am a strong advocate for Disneyland Paris, and I think everyone should go. It is, I said this last time, the customer service is not as good as Disney World, Florida, and it never will be. And that's not to say it's bad or anything, because it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's just, really European, really.
Well, that's it. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? It's
exactly.
The reason that there's alcohol in any Disney parks is because of France, because they were going to, Disney World and Disneyland were dry parks, and then they were going to open Euro Disney, and they're like, this will be a dry park. And the French were like, oh, no, monsieur, it will not be a dry park. We will be drinking wine in the streets. You'd better get on board with it. And so they just kind of went like, yeah, fair enough, we'll serve wine with meals, and it all kind of expanded out of there. And now you've got, you've literally got a bar inside the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World, which I think a lot of people never thought would happen. So thank you to the French for that, because it's just made my access to alcohol that little bit easier when I'm over there and I fancy a libation. But no, I think the French park has a lot to offer. I do think I've been guilty of this in the past, and it's direct comparison to other Disney parks, and I think that's perhaps where you start to feel like it falls down. But if you take it for a park by itself, the park as it is on its own, it's phenomenal. Like, my first Disney park was Paris, and my mind was blown. I also like the fact that it's got that thing going on that Disneyland's going on, that if you leave Disneyland Paris and you walk 2 minutes in that direction, you're in, Walt Disney Studios Park, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
You can go from one to the other in a matter of minutes. You've not got to hop on a bus or a monorail or take a ferry or you're just there. You ambulate and you get yourself there, and there's like a whole other theme park for you to go and enjoy, which is very, very cool. Both water parks will be open when you go this year to Florida. They're doing that again. I think it was just announced a couple of days ago. So you'll have your pick of the water parks.
They will. However, I think because of the amount of stuff we have planned, I don't know if we'll be able to go, but I might try and convince my friend to do the big slide with me.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And that's it.
The thing is, you can just make a morning of it.
Well, yeah, true. But we are, so when we go this year round, we've got 2 week tickets for Disney, but we're also doing Universal, and me and Ellie, regardless of anything, we always go to Discovery Cove
Yes.
for a day.
Yeah, I remember you saying, yeah.
I think it's a great half a day. It's a good day to slow down on. All the food and drinks are included. There's so many cool animals that you can see as well, and also fish too.
Yeah, the girls are doing a dolphin swim this year. They've already got it booked.
Yeah, it's great. And if you've not been before, have you been before?
No.
Discovery Cove?
No.
It's really fun. I do encourage it because there's like a man-made beach with like fish in it that you can actually just go in and like they're with you. And it's really nice. It's a really just nice place to chill out and relax. And normally the rest of the day, like we've kind of already said, the other half of that day, we're going to go back to the resort and we're actually going to explore Animal Kingdom Lodge because there's so many activities to do around there as well. And we thought if we're staying there, we've got to do something.
Yeah, there's plenty there to keep you busy. Absolutely. No, I think that's fair enough, man. So are you just doing Epic, or are you doing the whole enchilada with Universal?
Oh, we're doing all of it.
You're doing the lot, all 3 parks?
Yeah. I can't wait to do Epic. I'm so excited to do Epic.
Yeah, man.
But again, our friends, they've not been before, and we want them to experience as much as they can.
Sure, yeah.
Because I have a guilty pleasure of pushing people over the edge and then getting them addicted to going to places like Florida. So then that way they can just keep going. I'm very much converting them into my cult of go to Disney.
100%.
And just go to Florida.
We talked about this on the last episode. There's that beautiful vicarious excitement of seeing people experience these things for the first time, because you're never going to get to do that again. You've had your first time, but it's almost better getting to see people's faces when certain things are revealed to them, when they walk into a certain area, when they meet a certain character, all of that sort of stuff. It's really, really delightful. Yeah, it's one of the things I'm looking forward to most about our trip, taking this friend family along. It's going to be really, really fun, I think. And yeah, you're going to get to do the same thing. So have you got like a week off afterwards to actually recover from this intense 2 weeks then, or are you?
I wish, but unfortunately for me, it is one day off and then straight back to work.
God, that's rough. That's rough, but what can you do, Fair enough, man. Well, I think the only other thing that's happening news-wise, if I'm right, and it's going back to Frozen briefly, is that the Frozen Ever After in Epcot is going to be reopening after an extended closure, where they Hannibal Lecter style sliced the faces off the old animatronics and replaced them with beautiful rubbery new ones. So if you're listening, you've not been on Frozen Ever After before, it is a dark ride through Arendelle, and there's multiple animatronics, and they're all very, very good. They move very well. They're beautifully animated, but the faces of the human characters were previously like backlit projections. So it was almost like a computer screen that was like wrapped around the face of the animatronic. And they were okay. They were fine. They always look really weird in videos, but they're not that distracting when you see them in real life. There's like when you see them in videos, they're lit weird, but when you're actually there in the room, they look pretty good. But I think they were quite prone to breaking down, malfunctioning. They didn't really sort of evoke that sense of having that character really there with you quite the way that the other animatronics do, the sort of Tokyo style animatronics. So that's all been changed over now, I'm guessing in conjunction with the opening of the new one in Paris, right?
Yeah, I think the way they're doing it is similar to how they've done the animatronics in Tiana's, if I'm right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit, that gives me pause for thought, because as I pointed out on some of my vlogs that I've been doing recently, Tiana's, for a ride that is not a year old yet, is looking a little bit tatty in places. Like when I was going on it, a lot of the animatronics were not working very well. Paul Lewis, like his head and his body were coming away from each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things that, like, I felt like that was one of the rides that they maybe needed to close for like a week in January and do a quick refurb on. So I'm hoping that Frozen doesn't have those issues with the new animatronic faces and stuff, but they certainly look a lot nicer, I think. I really like the fact that it's like an actual physical, tangible face that's emoting and moving with everything else. But again, I'm not an Imagineer. I don't know how difficult it is to keep these things up and running all the time. Regardless, February 12th, which is tomorrow as of this recording, so by the time you're listening to this, you can go, if you're in the Florida area, and check out the new realistic, actually in the room, moving with servos and things faces, which is pretty cool. So, I believe that covers all the news for this episode. I was going to move us on now to a little segment that we've devised. 3 loves, 3 could be betters. I didn't want to say hates. I didn't even want to say dislikes. I just wanted to say there's room for improvement here. And I don't know if you want to maybe start with the room for improvement and end on the love. I don't know which way around you want to do it, maybe.
Yeah, we do it that way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I could only really come up with 2.
I'm trying really hard since you mentioned it to me to come up with 1. I'll be honest. I mean,
it's because we suckle at the teat of Disney too much. We're simps. We're fanboys. We stand
too
them.
biased.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I will do my best to take my bias out of this, and I will start with could be better. And this is like we're just talking about Disney World?
You open it up to whatever you want, mate. Like if you've got something somewhere else.
I'm gonna go with just Disney World, me, because I will struggle with that.
Yeah.
So my first could be better would be for one of my favourite rides, actually.
Okay.
And I wish they could somehow, and this is me just asking for things that may never be done because it's not something I hate or dislike, anything like that. It's just something that I prefer in a different park, which I wish they did in Disney World. I wish Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean was the French ride, because I think the one in Disneyland Paris is better.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And I've spoken to other people who would say the same thing. It's longer, more scenes, more drops. I was really surprised.
Different characters as well.
I was really surprised the first time I went on Pirates in Florida because I didn't know. And so you have that first drop, and I was bracing myself for another one that never came. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still Pirates. It's still a brilliant ride. But yes, imagine if they kind of went like, okay, 6 to 9 months, we're closing this down. But when it opens back up, it's going to be half as long.
It's going to have like the extra drop, the extra bits, the bit where it like cranks you up and David Jones or Blackbeard is there on the smoke. I don't think that's in Florida. And,
no.
It's such a cool bit, and it sets a tone as well. Like, it's actually a bit scary.
Yeah,
like,
there's a tension
like,
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing. God, another could be better would... I'm going to say, which they'll do it anyway in the future, I believe, is to expand the time lock even more in Galaxy's Edge in that part, and not necessarily just restricted to the original trilogy and Rise and Resistance and so, or the sequel trilogy. I would like to see some prequel characters.
Oh, okay.
In there.
You want Jar Jar wandering around, do you?
That'd be hilarious. But also for me, for instance, I was born in 1995. And I remember being a kid and being really excited to watch Phantom Menace at the cinema.
Sure.
And I remember people hating it, and me being just a kid and being like, whoa, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Just because I was a kid.
Yeah, you're who that movie was for. So, yeah, of course,
Exactly. Attack of the Clones was like, all right. But then Revenge of the Sith for me is like so good. And I would love to see like, a young Obi-Wan, Anakin before he was Vader.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Obviously, you would have to keep the characters on separate parts of the park.
They can schedule all of that stuff, though, in the same way that,
Exactly.
Rey's never out at the same time as Kylo Ren at the moment. You schedule the characters so they don't bump into each other. If you could have
you could
have any one character from that era, you're only allowed to choose one. Who's it going to be?
Oh my god.
Mine's going to be the robot that helps Padme give birth at the end of Revenge of the Sith. You know, one that's like,
Yeah.
I want that thing floating around.
You know what? I feel like you could easily get that just like in a doorway somewhere, just like sat chilling, just saying something to you.
Give it a couple of years, they'll be selling it in Droid Depot.
Yeah, exactly. One character from the prequels. You know what? I'm gonna say it. Let's just slap Jar Jar Binks in there.
Hey,
Just to
it's going to garner a reaction, I'll give you that.
exactly. Yeah, people will either run away from it or flock to it. I think it would be amazing. Although I do think character in general, I think you'd probably have to have like Obi-Wan or Anakin or something. I mean, even a Mace Windu would be amazing, right?
Yeah, man, Mace would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think if the Olaf thing works out well in the Frozen Land, I think it'd be really cool if they could figure out a way to do that with Yoda.
Yeah, you could have
Just a
Yoda.
little animatronic that's either voiced by a cast member backstage or is programmed with certain AI responses and things like that. You know, something like that would be very, very cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think that actually leads into one of mine in terms of could be betters, which was wandering characters. Now, I know before the pandemic, this was a little bit more of a regular thing. And I think in Cool Kids Summer last year, they had brought this back a little bit, but then during the off-peak season, it had gone away again. But I just feel like a lot of, especially when you go back and watch some of like the old promo videos from like the 80s and 90s, so much of it is kids running into the arms of like characters that they've just bumped into on the street. And it ties into one of my favorite things about Disney World, which is the unplanned moments. So again, we talked about this last time, the fact that you have to plan so much of it, but the most magical moments tend to be the ones that you happen upon by accident, or if a cast member pixie dusts you in some way, or just those sort of like spontaneous little, oh, gosh, yeah, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I think a big part of that would be, you know, if I bumped into, I can queue up a meeting, but like if I bumped into Max, you know, Goofy's son, just wandering around, that would be awesome, you know. Or like, again, like when they had like Mary Poppins and Bert and the penguins just kind of wandering around and, you know, just wheeling out the characters a little bit more than they do now. And again, I think it's one of those things that they do, as far as I know, do quite a lot more in Disneyland. And for some reason, it doesn't seem to happen as much in Disney World.
Yeah, I wish they had that more as well.
I just wish they'd do a little bit more of it, really. Just in every park. You know, you do have a few. You have Kevin in Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, yeah.
You do see the odd wandering character, but it feels fairly few and far between these days. And I think they could really just... You've got all those costumes. Like, there's a warehouse absolutely chock full of, you know, every character you can think of. Bring Robin Hood and Little John back out. Why not?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Who's using those costumes backstage? They've just been hanging up gathering dust for years. Get those guys back out. I don't even care if they're the weird wonky looking ones from the 70s. Just, I want to meet Friar Tuck. Come on, man. So, yeah, that would be one of mine. And then the other one was just kind of a personal gripe, but it was the Regal Eagle Smokehouse in Epcot. I don't know if you've ever eaten there. How did you find it? Did you enjoy yourself in there? Do you recall much about the meal?
No, not really. It was all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was all right, but yeah, I don't remember too much of it, really. There's so many different places around Epcot to eat. Like, we normally get, like, just snacks from a lot of places. I can't lie. We just do that. But yeah, I don't really remember it too well.
I remember the dicky tummy I got after eating my...
Really?
Yeah. It was just, I don't know if I'd built it up in my mind too much. I was really, really looking forward to it. And it's a quick service. So they're just churning out the food. But like you said, there are so many great places to eat in Epcot. Like really, really good. Like super memorable, you know, like, oh, I would go there if it was an occasion kind of thing. And that place, you know, we're in the US, we're in the south of the US. And I get that we're in a theme park, but I feel like I should be able to get good barbecue or something approaching passable. But it was just, I don't know, maybe it only stands out because I've had so few disappointing meals in Disney World, and that was just one of them. Like, most of the time the food I eat is either pretty good or really good. Yeah, and that was just like, I was quite ill the day after, and it was like just cold, super fatty cuts of meat. It wasn't great. And again, maybe I need to go back. Maybe it was an isolated incident, but for me, that was a could do better. That was a, let's just take a look at the quality of the food that we're putting out here. Let's consider what's going out on this menu, because it certainly cost enough that it should have been better quality food than that. But hey ho, there we go. Have you got anything else for that, or do you want to move on to the things we love most?
No, I literally can't think of, like, I'm on the spot and I can't think of like much that I mean there's loads of things that I could say, oh, I would maybe do this, maybe do that, but like I don't think it's enough like
Yeah.
to say it's bad or no, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't think of anything else.
And I get that everyone would have like the general one of like, oh, pricing. It'd be lovely if it was a bit cheaper and everything else. And I'm like, but I'm
Yeah, I mean, of
like, yeah, who
course,
wouldn't?
but
Like, I would love if they paid me to go in there, but they don't.
yeah,
But yeah, just thinking of a couple of specific things. And again, it's just like it speaks volumes that we're having to work quite hard to think of things at all.
I tell you what, actually,
Yeah.
one I do wish something I because so I will stay at quite a lot of like value resorts,
Mm.
for instance, just because I for many reasons. One, price. Two, I'm not really in my resort that long, so it's not. But I wish there was more things like maybe at the value resorts for people to do because obviously you go to these deluxe resorts and pay like, of course, this bigger price for it, and I get that. But I do think more things round value resorts, like entertainment wise, might be cool to do.
Yeah.
Just because you're still paying a lot to go there at
100%.
these resorts.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times at the value resorts, there's more kids as well. And those kids could have like something, the most magical moments when you don't expect them. That magical moment could be at their resort when they're
Yeah.
just going through, and
Yeah.
it could be an evening thing that's put on, or a little trail that's done through the resort to encourage people to maybe stay in the resort a little
Yeah.
bit for a bit
Yeah.
and explore.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do have some stuff like that, but I think if you kind of break it down into the black and white, let's look at how much this room here costs per night. If I were to spend that much on a hotel room pretty much anywhere else, what level of service and everything else would I expect for that? Like, I get that we're on Disney property. I get that we're in XYZ proximity to a theme park, but does that really justify this cost? Is there other things that you could be doing at the resort that would just make it feel a little bit more of an easier pill to swallow with the cost? And I would, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's deliberate because they want people away from the resorts and in the parks. I don't know. Like, they want to keep you on property, but like, for instance, like Boardwalk. Boardwalk used to do crazy nightlife. That was kind of the point of it, and they would have like jugglers out on the boardwalk and people balancing on chairs and like street performers, jazz bands. You had jelly rolls with the dueling pianos and everything else going on. And it was like, there was a lot of reasons to go to Boardwalk, even if you weren't staying at Boardwalk, because there was that much happening there. Which again, like, I think that could work in Disney's favor, because if you're giving people reasons to go to these resorts and explore them and find them exciting and interesting, well, isn't that going to plant the seed in their head that like, oh, maybe we should stay here on the next trip?
Right?
I know they like people looking around the resorts and stuff, and they do, like they all have a fire pit, they all have a swimming pool, they all do movies under the stars. But yeah, like, could you do more things themed specifically to the thing that you're staying in? I don't know, but yeah, I think that's a good one, man. I think just, yeah, a little bit more to do there, either for kids or grown-ups, or stuff that's maybe included in the price, because again, they do like a lot of extra like things, but then there's like a surcharge on top of that, and that's a tough one when you kind of go, so you're telling me if you want me to do this, I've got to pay you an extra $25 when I've just paid however much to be here in the first place. But yeah, fair dues. Cool. All right, so we're going to move on to things that we love. I've got 3, and my 3 are a place, a ride/area, and restaurant/dish. And I didn't deliberately divvy it up like that, but that's just kind of what came to me when I was thinking about like, what are my 3 like bang bang bang, like when I think of my trips to Florida, what crops up into my head first? So have you got them lined up, or do you want me to tell you a couple of mine?
Yeah, I've got mine sort of ready. I've done them just now in my head.
Have at it.
In an order that you've done. So place-wise that I really enjoy, honestly, I'm gonna say we'll start with restaurant actually first.
Okay.
No, should I? I'm gonna start with ride. Actually, sorry, okay. I've gone through the motions. I'm gonna say probably the most common one at the moment, or maybe the most common one. Who knows? I bloody love Cosmic Rewind. Sorry, it's so fun, and the first time I went on it as well, it like blew my mind. It's up there in my top like 3, probably like quite a few people. the photo of me and Ellie has just gone by on my
On
Amazon
your
Echo.
screensaver, yeah.
Yeah, on Cosmic Rewind. It's such a good ride.
It's unbelievable.
That or Expedition Everest, I feel
Yeah,
as well. That's another one that I absolutely love.
yeah.
Place. That's. I'm gonna go with Hollywood Studios.
Hmm.
I love when in the morning when you first walk into Hollywood Studios, walking down that middle road. I just really like it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's. I think Hollywood Studios is probably one of my favorite part, or it is my favorite part, maybe.
I always say it's my favorite park unless I'm in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I guess. But then again, I might even say that even if I was like in Animal Kingdom or Epcot as well. Like, there's so many things from different parks that I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
so much. But I do feel like Hollywood Studios, it's just really fun for me. I really like it. I think it's great. And Galaxy's Edge is there. I love Star Wars.
There you go. There you go.
But, you know, Mickey's Runaway Railway is there too. And that song will be in your head as soon as you hear it.
As it should be.
100%, right?
That gets regular rotation on Spotify even now.
Yeah, right. It's in my friend's head, and he's not been on the ride.
That's great. Well, at least he knows what to expect.
Exactly. Restaurant. I'm going to go with. I always get the number wrong, but Steakhouse 71.
One.
71, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steakhouse 71. Oh, what a restaurant! I absolutely love it. It's great. It's brilliant. They do really nice food. If you go to Disney World in general, trust me, go to that restaurant. It's amazing. It's also where I proposed to Ellie.
I was going to say, it's got a lot of kind of personal meaning and connection for you as well. So you're going to have that tie to it, I suppose, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. They also do really good burgers, if you like burgers.
Well, there you go. A proposal or a burger. Steakhouse 71 has it all, apparently. Yeah. No, we haven't been yet, so maybe we should put that on the top of our list if it's a solid recommendation. We'll go along. I've got a bit of time yet before I've got to book my restaurants, but I definitely want to knock a few new ones off when we're over there next time. So for me, my place is the Riviera. That place, and specifically the people who work in it, elevated our last trip to a place that I didn't think was possible for a holiday. And I realise that's quite a big statement to make, and I realise it might seem a little bit trite to people, but I genuinely mean that. It was like, Disney World's wonderful for so many reasons, but the fact that it was our first time staying on property, the fact that it was there at what is the newest resort, or like standalone resort, was great. Like, it all still feels quite new. It's beautiful. For us, I like the fact that it was so small, because it meant that you weren't spread out over acres and acres of land. It meant that you didn't have like the hustle and bustle of thousands of people in the quick service or the gift shop at any one time. But we met some absolutely incredible people, like cast member wise, people who, like, we're making a point of, like, Bean's really excited to go and see someone called Ellen, who works in the Bell Services. So Ellen's like the first person you see when you walk through the door. Like, by the end of the trip, they had like a special secret handshake and stuff that they were doing. And the fact that it was my birthday while I was there, and they'd given the girls like a room to wrap all my presents and put all my birthday decorations in, so that I didn't accidentally find stuff in the room. Not only that, they bought me gifts for my birthday. When we came back in, no matter how kind of tired we were, we always wanted to make a point of like stopping and chatting with these people and hanging out. And like, it was genuinely really lovely, like a really welcoming, homely vibe. That was the thing that really put it over the top for us. And when I think about, because even though it was our home resort, we were always kind of like, oh well, each holiday we'll stay in a different place. And what we've ended up sort of going is like, well, we still want to stay in all these different places and knock all of these resorts off, but I think it always needs to be a split stay. We're kind of like, we always need to go and stay at the Riviera for a bit. We always like, so, you know, which is why we're going to do like, you know, a week in Old Key West and then a week in Riviera and that kind of thing to knock it off. But that place was something else. And it was definitely like the cast members who worked there who like just put it over the edge for us. So that's definitely going to be my place. My ride/area is Galaxy's Edge, specifically Rise of the Resistance, because it was one of the few things I'd like denied myself watching on YouTube before we went. I can't remember if we talked about this on the last episode, but like, I was like, part of having a neurodiverse kid is like preparing them for stuff as well. So like wanting her to see what the rides were going to be like before she went, so she didn't feel overwhelmed by them, and she wasn't anxious about what was coming up. I refused to see anything on Rise of the Resistance. I was like, as soon as it came on like a Disney food blog thing, I was like, no, looking away, turning it off, fast forwarding it, whatever I needed to do. And it just blew my mind. It was so good. And I think it's one of the things it's got in common with Cosmic Rewind is like the queue system, or like the fact that like as soon as you join that queue, you're in the world. Everything that's happening is like drawing you into the storyline. It's surrounding you with the feeling of the place that you're entering and everything else. And so like the fact that there's so many elements to it, there's that initial cue where you go into the room where BB-8 is, and there's the hologram of Rey, and you're recruited. You're then ushered out into a transport carrier. And I still don't know the trick for this, but then the transport carrier closes, and then, you know, like you're taken up into the air, and then you're brought inside a Star Destroyer. The door opens, and then all of a sudden you're in the hangar bay of the Star Destroyer, and it is just such a clever trick. It's so immersive, but then you're then taken to interrogation, and all the cast members there in their Imperial uniforms talking to you like you're Resistance, and they are Imperial. They're not just like, how many to stand over here, how's your day going, blah blah. Like they are really grumpy with you, and you know, if you make snarky remarks, they'll make them back, and there's a nice bit of like interplay there. And this is all before you've even gotten into the ride part of the ride. Like you're in there for like for 20 minutes, you're in your own Star Wars film, which is obviously what they were going for, but it's phenomenal. It's so well realized, and I look forward to like more stuff on that scale happening, Star Wars or not, because like that level of like immersive storytelling, I think when it's something that's very personal to you in terms of like your fandom or whatever as well, that like really puts it over the edge, because you know the amount of people who've just like us grown up from as long as they can remember having Star Wars being like a pretty important part of their life, to kind of get to climb inside it and play around with the toys in there and speak to the characters and everything. Like I read a lot of the books, and I'd read the books with Vi Moradi in it, who is a character that you can physically go and meet in Galaxy's Edge. And I was just like, that's insane. The fact that there's like someone who's a character, not from a film or a TV show. And I realized she was written for the parks and then put into the books, but still the fact that there's like a character from a Star Wars novel is over there, and I can go and have a chat with them. I can talk to them about other characters from that book, and they know what I'm talking about. Awesome. So cool. So unsurprisingly, that's it for me for like a ride / area. Like I could go on about all of Galaxy's Edge for hours, and have, but like if I had to boil it down to one little thing, I think that's like a perfect like little example of what that thing is at large. And then my place to eat is Homecoming, specifically the chicken and donuts at Homecoming, which is the meal I broke veganism for. I'd been vegan for like 8.5 years, and I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether I was going to carry on with it. And we were over there, and I had a reservation for Homecoming, and I'd heard from several people, you have to try the chicken and donuts. And I did. And I put that first bite in my mouth, Harry, and the eyeballs rolled back in my head. And I made some noises that weren't particularly appropriate for Disney World. And I had to take a minute to calm myself down before I continue with the meal. I think it might be the best meal I've had in my life. I think it is. I think of it often. It sticks with me. When I think about good food, that's the meal that comes to mind. So it's a difficult place to get a reservation for, apparently. I mean, I can see why. The food's wonderful, but like you wouldn't think it had that sort of notoriety where it'd be really, really difficult to book into. But yeah, that's the one for me. Have you been there at all?
I don't think we have.
Do it. You got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. Obviously, you don't have to have chicken and donuts. You should, but you don't have to.
Hey, I mean, if that's what it broke veganism for you, I think I owe it to have it. Honestly,
being a British person who eats mostly grey food, like you wouldn't think it'd work that well. It's such a overtly American sounding meal as well. Like just fried
chicken and donuts is like, here you could never imagine that, you know what I mean? Like I've only just gotten around to having bacon on pancakes. To then put chicken donuts, I'm then sat there like,
yeah,
right, what?
I mean, it definitely has to be like a once in a while treat. I'm pretty sure I could feel my arteries thickening as I was eating the food. But for saying I'm only going to have it like what, once a year, once every other year, I can make that exception. That's fine. But honestly, man, it just absolutely brilliant. And we were sat outside just in like in the night air, you know, like late September in Florida. So it's like maybe 23, 24 degrees. So it's lovely. The humidity's died down. We were only like a couple of nights into our stay. So we had like this whole trip ahead of us. And then some beautiful southern man came and put this giant plate of food in front of me. And the other thing as well is because it's American portions, I got to take half of it home with me and have the rest the following day. So winner.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't be surprised. I quite a lot of the time when we were there, I'd finish my meal and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so full. I literally cannot. And then it would be going to somewhere else for food. I'd be like, oh no,
Yeah.
here we go again.
The amount of times, because we take Ziploc bags with us into the park. So the amount of times I'm spending like some of the afternoon with like a bag of noodles in my backpack or something where I've had like a, you know, a lunch and I've just been like, oh, Matt, I can't, I'm done. I've got to tap out. However, I've paid $18 for that. So I'm not slinging it away. That can go home and be lunch at the resort the next day or whatever. So yeah. Cool. So I wanted to finish off just with a couple of questions about, I've kind of framed this as like Disney World bucket list, but it's not necessarily bucket list. It was more just like a sort of series of questions about where to next. So like you've got your trip booked for this August and you're taking friends to that. What park do you think you want to do after this that's not necessarily Florida? Is Anaheim the very top of the list, or would you rather do Japan first? Or I assume you want to visit all the parks at some point now.
Yeah, we want to go to most of the parks. There's one that we're umming and ahhing on if we'd ever go to it. Uh, but yeah, Anaheim is kind of up there. Ellie is really eager to go to that one, and I mean, so am I, right? Because that
The
was
OG.
birthplace.
Yeah.
In the same breath, though, I will totally be honest. I would love to go to Disneyland Hong Kong, or Shanghai, or Japan, or Tokyo. Sorry, as well. I'd love to go to Tokyo Sea. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I think like Japan for us is one that's going to take a lot of planning because it's going to have to fold into a much bigger trip. Obviously, you're kind of almost doubling your flight time. It's a big old trip out there, and for weebs like us, there's a lot of other non-Disney stuff that we'd like to do whilst we're there as well. Like everything from like proper dorky touristy stuff in like, you know, Shibuya and Shinjuku, and going up the Tokyo Tower and going to like the One Piece Museum and all of that sort of stuff, but also like maybe going out to some of the smaller villages, taking the bullet train out. I would love to go to somewhere like Okinawa and really just kind of see the rural side of Japan a little bit, visit some of the temples, that kind of thing. So we definitely want to do Japan. I think that's probably top of our list, but there's other things that factor into it outside of the actual Disney parks. That said, the Asian Disney parks are meant to be phenomenal. Beautiful, so clean, so well organized. Like it apparently feels like almost like a different company, but using the same IP, which I guess is technically true of Japan because it's owned by the Tokyo Land Company.
Yeah.
So yeah, but so for you, it's kind of like a toss up between Anaheim and Japan.
Yeah. So I mean, Anaheim. I think it is going to be Anaheim. That is our next one.
Yeah.
I mean, similar to yourself with Japan, I would love to go and do many other things as well. I think when discussing it with Ellie, we basically said we would spend at least a week, like 7 days, in doing Disney things. The reason why is because we don't know when we're going to go back to that because of how far away it is. But I also really love, also a little bit of a weeb, not massively, but fully am a little bit, but I would also love to learn the actual like history of Japan through Japan. Like I really love the Edo period. I just think it's so cool. And recently, one thing we did actually in Egypt is when we went there, we went round a museum with a guide who then went, "This is what this is. This is the significance of this person. This is the statue of so and so." And we said to each other, like, I was never really one for guides before, but now that I've done this, they taught me so much more than what I would have just learned by just looking around the museum, going,
Sure. Yeah.
this is a thing. So I think if we ever went to Japan, I would happily look for a guide and go to like an Edo period museum and ask them to like show me around that museum for a day.
Yeah, I think.
Then
Yeah,
that'd be great.
you're always going to get more out of that if you've got a local showing you around, I think, and not just necessarily museums and stuff, but just like nightlife, places to eat. Like you can read guidebooks and you can watch vlogs, but if you've got someone who is there doing that for a living and it is a local, then they're going to be able to kind of just point you in the direction of things that no one else is. So yeah, fair dues, man. So I touched briefly on this and you pulled a face before we started recording, but the Abu Dhabi park, when that opens, what are you thinking?
I think it's great they're opening a park, right? They're opening a park in a so I think it's a park not aimed at people like myself, and that is fine. I think it. I mean, I don't know. I could totally be proven wrong, which I would love if that is so. I think it will be a park more for people who are a little bit, well, a lot more wealthier than I am, and also of a certain class. But in my head, I'm sat there like, so many people go to Disney just for Disney, right? And I don't think this will be as much as a park that we're used to seeing, like Disney World, like Paris, like Disneyland, like Japan, like Hong Kong, like Shanghai. I think it's going to be very much a big shopping center with maybe a ride with like Disney brand, maybe. A lot of my friends who are really big on Disney, my next door neighbors are massive Disney fanatics. They've just come back from Paris again. For instance, also other people I know are not welcome in places like Abu Dhabi.
This is the thing, yeah. When you start to kind of, look past the initial excitement of a new theme park and you look into the politics of the country, the approach to certain human rights within the culture and things like that, it's how important is that to you? How much can you kind of remove yourself from that thinking when visiting a park? I personally can't say either way. I think we need to see again what it's like when it's all done, but also know a little bit more about how it was built, because
yeah, definitely
historically there's been issues there as well. I think it's a really tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, I am going into it with as much as an open mind as possible, thinking it's just going to be another park. Hopefully it's great. I really hope it, does well and everything like that. I just hope it's as inclusive as the other parks they have.
Yeah, you would think there would be a certain mandate passed down, because this isn't a park owned by the Walt Disney Company. We should point out to anyone who doesn't know, it's owned by essentially Saudi investors who own the land and have been granted the right to use the Disney IP in the parks, much like the Tokyo Land Company in Japan. It's a very similar sort of setup. However, just because Disney have gone, okay, for X amount of dollars, you can slap Mickey and Goofy on your rides, your T-shirts, whatever, does not necessarily mean that they have carte blanche to approach things however they want. I would imagine that applies to the way that things are constructed as well, because again, that is bad optics on the company if you just want to kind of break it down to its most base level. That reflects poorly on Disney if they're seen to be engaging in some of the less savory elements of that particular culture to Western audiences, at least. So yeah, I mean, we're a number of years away from that thing being realised anyway, but I think it's just interesting to kind of have that conversation. Like, if I get to the point where I've done all of the 6 castles, am I going to want to head over there just so I can kind of tick it off? I don't know. Anyway, we got a bit maudlin and serious there. So, what season or festival haven't you been to yet that you would like to do most? It can be like Christmas, it could be Halloween, it could be one of the Epcot festivals. Like, every time we go, it's during Festival of Food and Wine, because that's just the time of year that we tend to go. And Food and Wine's awesome. I love Food and Wine. However, I would also like to go for maybe Festival of the Arts at some point. I would love to be... Festival of the Holidays, for me, would probably be the top one, because it means I'd be able to be there for that Epcot festival. I'd be able to go to like the candlelight processional and do all of that stuff. Go around the World Showcase and see all the different Father Christmases and characters who tell the story of Christmas from that country. That's all really cool. As well as do the Holly Jolly Hollywood Party, the Mickey's Merry Christmas part, like all of that. Like they go in so hard on Christmas over there. I want to go to like Grand Floridian and see the gingerbread house that they build in the lobby. That's an actual house that you can buy pieces of. All of that sort of stuff. So, but what about you? Is there like a particular time that you've not been yet that's enticing?
So Christmas would be interesting. I've done at Epcot, for instance, I've done Food and Wine, I've done Farts, and I've done Flower and Garden. I'd love to go at Christmas time, but we normally avoid it because of I know it's going to be really busy.
It's rammed and it's expensive.
Mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more expensive to go at that time. And I mean, I understand why, because it's Christmas, right?
Yeah, man.
But I would like to experience that one day. It would be really cool to do. Maybe one day we will do Christmas time. But yeah, apart from that, I've done. I really like Flower and Garden. Actually, what we're planning on doing at some point is it is my goal to get my mum to go to Disney World.
Okay.
So every time I come back, I show her photo. She is amazed by it every time.
Yeah.
And she's never been ever.
Okay.
She's never been to Paris or anything like that.
Wow,
And
okay.
I said to my mum a few weeks ago, actually, I was like, Mum, look, I need to be serious with you. I really want to go with you to Disney World before you get to a point where you can't go.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I really want to go with you. Even if you bring Dad as well, I don't think my dad will enjoy it at all.
They just leave him by the pool bar. He'll be fine.
I think so. We've decided that they would stay at Caribbean Beach when I was talking with my mum because the theming, my dad would love it.
Okay.
He can just chill on a beach all day, really.
Yeah.
He would be happy to stay at a resort all day, every day. He would not really mind going to the parks for 2 weeks. We'd probably get him. He'd probably buy a ticket just so he could come.
Yeah, or just like a day ticket or something. But yeah,
if he was like, I'm going to tap out early and just go back,
sure,
it would be expected. Yeah. And he would love the restaurants and everything like that as well. But I really want to go in spring again with my mum because she's a massive gardener.
Okay.
And I think she would absolutely love
all the topiaries and everything that they have. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It smells great. There's also always great food made out of like flowers and stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think she would really love that. And that is so that's probably what we would also look at going. That's what I want to go to.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's a very sweet sentiment, Harry. I didn't know you had it in you. No, that's lovely, man. I think sharing that stuff with people that you love is what Disney's all about, and that's brilliant. Cool. Well, I think we're going to leave it there for this particular episode. Cheers for coming back on, man. Like I said, I'd love to make this a bit more of a regular thing where I actually have someone to converse with and back and forth on, and hopefully get episodes out a little more often than once every few months. I think I'm wrapping up my vlog finally. The last episode's going to be coming out this weekend as of recording. So after that, I don't know what's going to be happening with the YouTube channel. I know that we could potentially put video up from these podcasts, so that might be something that I could do in future. Just kind of tide me over until I start recording again when I'm back over there. Do you think you'd have a vlog while you're over there? Is that something that you think you could ever see yourself doing, or is that a bit too much of a...
I mean, it's something I'd definitely consider. It's more if I remembered to.
Yeah, that was the problem. When I was reviewing the footage, there were a lot of instances, and I think this first time was a bit of a learning curve for me because I was going back over the footage and I was like, oh, we ate here. It's like us walking into a restaurant and then me walking back out of the restaurant going like, oh, God, that was delicious. And I've just been so consumed with the fact that I've got a delicious meal in front of me. I've not done what you're supposed to do, which is film it, have a bite, tell people what you think about it, all of that sort of stuff. And maybe because it was just my second visit and I was still very excited by all the new stuff. And a lot of the kind of regular vloggers, it's like a day in, day out thing for them. And I think, you can be a lot more present and aware of why you're there, which is to film. Same with rides. There was loads of footage of me in the queue talking about how great the queue was, and then me walking out afterwards going that was a really good ride, everybody. No footage of me on the ride whatsoever. I'm like, sorry guys, go and see someone else's video if you want to see what the actual ride's like. So I need to be better at that sort of thing. But it is fun. It is good to do in terms of making you slow down and look at stuff and appreciate different things, I think. I enjoy doing it.
Definitely.
I want some better gear for when I go over this time because I was using my phone on a gimbal, which was a little bit impractical in places. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I'd like one of these little, what are they called?
Kind of like a GoPro kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a little stick with a camera on the top of it, essentially, and they're designed specifically for kind of like vlogging and like influencer type stuff. So, yeah. So the vlog series will continue once we go again, but in the meantime, yeah, we'll maybe look at maybe uploading the video from these podcasts and everything else. Cool. So you can find Ono Disney Adults on Instagram. Just search for Ono Disney Adults. If you haven't seen the vlog yet and you think it would be interesting, I think it's interesting, but I'm the one who went on the holiday. Just search Ono Disney Adults on YouTube. There's going to be a whole playlist of the recent trip going up, and then, like I say, hopefully we'll be getting the video from the recordings coming up after that. So thank you very, very much for listening to us waffle for an hour and a half about how much we enjoy Disney. Please come and listen to us do it again in the future, and have a brilliant day. Bye.